Hi, it's Camper Jim with the Adventure Camper Company. I'm here with the 2022 Apex Nano. This is our twin bunkhouse. If you're renting this rig, I'm going to start from the front and walk our way around so that you can get orientated. I'm just going to talk to you about how the lift works. Extend and retract. Extend to lift, retract to lower. This is a 2 5/16 ball. Your chains, make sure that when you do get connected into your wiring harness that you make sure that the cables aren't touching the ground. And this is what we call the breakaway. This will activate the brakes if for some reason the trailer becomes separated from your tow vehicle. This is what is underneath the shroud. Whichever direction this little black bar is pointing towards is the tank that is in service. So if we want propane to be running, we want to make sure that we turn that on like that. If you find that you don't have propane, you can go ahead and just switch this bar right here over to the other tank and then open it. Now the storage up in the front is where you're going to find 2 wheel chucks right here on the passenger side. We have other things on the driver's side storage. To the entry door, this lifts up like that, and then your door handle swings out. When we get to our campsite and we have our camper leveled, once we've done that, then we can go ahead and deploy the stairs. Going to pull this pin, and then they are going to just swing out just like that. Before I put those out, I want to show you right here. This pin, if I pull that, will give me the ability to raise or lower those guides or the stairs so that they'll be flush. We want to make sure this portion lays right here but is not putting any downward pressure. Otherwise it'll damage the threshold and it'll bend this up and it'll ruin that. So once this is out, we want to make sure these jacks are keeping the stairs lifted just a hair up above the threshold. Your screen door opens just like this. This will open. If you're going to have the screen door kind of put together, always pull open from here, never from this. That's just a really small barb, and that'll get worn out. So again, if you're going to open the main door, you want to do it from that handle. If we have the screen closed though, like this, we obviously want that closed so that we don't have any bugs coming in. You've got an electrical outlet here. This is the service panel for your refrigerator, service panel for the hot water heater. This door opens up, and underneath this is a counter, a 110 outlet, a small Coleman grill. You'll need a 1-pound LP for that, and a small college fridge for beverages. This only runs when the camper is connected to city power. Spare on the back, and right here inside this bumper on the driver's side is where you'll see the sewage hose is. And so we are going to empty the tanks. We're going to take this lid off, connect that hose, and run it to the downspout or the receptacle for sewage. Pull the black tank first, wait until it's down to a small trickle, then we close it. Then what's next is you'll see there's 2 outlets or ports right here. One says city water connection, and then the other one's got an orange band on it. This one is for the tank flush. Never use the marine grade fresh water hose to port water into the sewage tank to rinse it out. Only use your own garden hose or use a hose at the RV dump site. If you put that in there, you can go ahead and turn it on. And then what you're going to want to do when you're rinsing that tank out is to have somebody on the inside actually open and close the valve to the toilet so that you don't build up back pressure as you fill that with fresh water so you can rinse. So that's as simple as this. Have somebody in here with you, and you're going to press that button right there, and that's just going to open that. As you put water in, you're going to be displacing air. If you displace too much air without that being able to breathe, it'll blow the seals out on the black tank. We don't want to do that. So again, we've emptied the black tank to a small trickle, closed the black tank valve, have connected the rinse water hose to the sewage flush. right here, and then we are starting to fill that tank full of fresh water. Once the tank gets almost all the way full, you can then again repeat the process of pulling the black handle and draining it. Once that's completely drained, do the same process for gray. I can tell you from experience, it is surprising how long it takes tanks to drain. A lot of it drains fast, and then the last bit takes 5 minutes, 7 minutes to drain slowly. So just be aware of that, and don't feel any great pressure if somebody's waiting behind you. It is what it is when you dump tanks. Remember, we have a VIP express return service with Venture Camper, and what that means is if you don't want to do everything I just talked about, going back and forth inside the camper, maybe waiting for 10 minutes for the next 1 or 2 campers in front of you to empty their tanks each, could be there 20, 30 minutes before you get your chance at it, and then having somebody look at you waiting as you're dealing with poo, which is not fun. Have us do it. All you got to do, have a great time, pull up on your last day, drop the camper off, and we take care of that. We do a basic clean on the inside of the camper for you, and we dump the tanks. VIP Express return is only $89.99. It's a great value. So that's another option for you. All right, back to our orientation. Right here is where your electric, your 30 amp service is going to connect in. There's an outdoor shower. Not a lot of people use it, but there it is. This is your slide out. Okay. If you're boondocking, in other words, you're camping where you do not have a fresh water source, city water to connect to, you're going to fill your 50-gallon reservoir right here. We can do it for you. We do a fresh water fill. It's available to you for $40 if you'd like. Otherwise, you can fill it up at your home with your garden hose or whatever. I always recommend that people bring their own drinkable water and don't consider water in the tanks as potable or drinkable. You're welcome to. I personally do. But as an official thing, I recommend you bring your own fresh water. So, all right, on the other side, we've got 2 tires on this side, so we've got 2 wheel chucks. Inside the milk carton, we've got the electric power cord, 30 amp, and we've got a fresh water hose, and a couple other things back here. In this blue container, we've got some wheel stabilizer chucks, and then to the very back of that, I've got a pair of sanitation gloves if you're deciding to do the sewage drain on your own. Also in here is a hand crank to connect to your stabilizer jacks. Now, stabilizer jacks are exactly that. If you add too much weight or bear too much weight on them, they'll bend and bend easily. So please remember, make sure you have your camper balanced out the way you like it, and then use the stabilizer jacks just to lift it a little bit and get everything nice and stable. That's what they're for there. I think we're ready to go inside. When we are inside and we want to open the awning, all we got to do is open it right here, in and out, and it's going to simply go out, just like so, and in, it's going to go in. Just a word, it goes in slower than it goes out, okay? We're going to open this up just a little bit here. We've got somebody picking it up for a weekend rental, and it's always nice to see the awning extended out. So there you go. That's kind of what it looks like when it's open. Okay, so awning in and out. Remember, on the way in, sometimes it's slow. If the motor stops, give it a few minutes and then keep closing it after it's had a chance to reset, okay? All right, lights for the outdoor are right there. And the slide out goes in and out right here. So if I push the out button, the slide out starts on its way out. And then we're gonna go all the way back in. Now, watch this. Okay, I'm still holding the button, but the motors sensed resistance and they automatically turn off. They're gonna do that on the way out and on the way in. So I want you to hold the out button until the motors stop. I want you to hold the in button until the motors stop when you're retracting or putting the slide back in. A couple of things though about this right here. The Murphy bed up in the front, the fold over bed. Make sure the couch is in the couch position and not folded out. To fold it out, we lift up and then just simply pull out like this, and then it'll drop. Now you'll see it kind of pinches right here. So we don't necessarily want this open or laying flat when the slide out is in. We want to make sure that this is lifted and into the couch position before the slide out gets used, okay? All right, you've got a 110 outlet down at the foot right here. If you have CPAP, there's one on both sides, or to charge your phones. There's a small valet right here with a few hangers in it, storage up here, a courtesy curtain for privacy. This simply opens and closes about as easy as it can get right there, okay? The bed folds down, and that's about as easy as it gets. So we've talked about everything on this control panel. In the kitchen, make sure the propane is on, and then we always leave a stick lighter right here, and you've got your burners, water hot and cold, sink stopper down underneath. We've got a toaster, we've got a coffee pot, we've got a small saucepan, a stock pot, and a frying pan is hiding behind the toaster back there, okay? So if you are going to, say, make spaghetti, you got everything you need. You got something to fry the hamburger, something to heat the sauce, something to boil the noodles. So all of those will fit, and I bought them to make sure they fit and work just fine and dandy right on in here, okay? All right, up on the top, on the right, we have table service for 4 people. There are a couple of coffee cups in there. This is the cabinet above the refrigerator. In this small Tupperware, I have a spatula, serving spoon, butcher knife, paring, just a whisk, just some basic kitchen utensils, some coffee filters, a few mixing bowls, some quart Ziplocs, maybe some foil. Double check that before you leave the house to make sure it has everything you need, and then add or bring along anything it doesn't have if you want it. When you're running the stove, make sure this vent is turned open and that the fan is turned on right here. Okay. Also, you can use this as an attic fan in case it's hot outside and you don't necessarily want to use the air conditioner. If you are going to use the air conditioner, make sure that you're connected to either a 3,500 watt or greater generator, or that you're connected to city power. It's real simple. It's on, cold, low, medium, high, and then your temperature is adjusted right there. This thing does a really nice job of keeping you cool. Okay, to the fridge. All right, the fridge controls are up above the freezer door, and right here, you'll notice this button is sticking out just slightly. It's in the off position. This button right here is pushed in, so it's in what we call the auto position. As soon as I turn this on, it will determine whether it's got electricity or if it needs to use propane. If it needs to use propane, it'll light on its own. It'll go through the ignition cycle 4 or 5 times. If you have forgotten to turn the propane on, it's going to start beeping at you and say, hey, I'm not working, I couldn't ignite, your refrigerator's not going to work, kind of a thing, okay? So there's a courtesy light right here inside the refrigerator. So when I turn the refrigerator on, that light's going to come on. Then we're going to know we've got power. Now, I'm not going to leave it on right now because it's going to try to turn to propane. It's not going to work because we have the propane up at the front of the coach turned off. Just a note, if you are going to use propane to operate the refrigerator, first turn the propane on at the front of the coach. Next, turn on one of the burners to the gas stove and use the stick lighter. It'll take about 10 to 20 seconds for propane to clear the lines and actually start flowing. Once it does, your burner will ignite. Let it burn for a few moments, then turn the burner off. Then go ahead and turn the refrigerator on in the gas mode, and it should ignite on its own. A couple of beds, a couple of courtesy curtains. 110 outlets are at both sides so somebody can plug in their phone. Pantry high and low right here. We have a dust broom in here. Make sure the TV is flush and doesn't get caught up as you close the slide out. Okay, so in the bathroom, pretty standard RV bathroom. Place for the hand towel, place for a couple of your own towels. Shower. When you turn the shower on, if you're going to be trying to conserve water, you're going to want to make sure you turn the water on, get it just the way you want, and then get yourself wet, and you can turn the flow of water off right here. You'll see that. You can press that, and it'll turn the water off, and then when you're ready to rinse off, you can turn it back on, and your water will be still set at the right temperature. Okay? Bathrooms on the toilets, really pretty simple. Instructions are right there. You're going to barely depress this down and it'll start a flow of water, so you can add some water to the bowl. If you're going to go to the bathroom and you need to rinse things down, you're going to want a little water in there to start with. So to flush, it's just as simple as pushing and letting go. All right, let's talk about how we get hot water. When you get to the campsite, if you have city water, connect the city water and then check one of the faucets to make sure water is flowing for both hot and cold. If you're boondocking and you're going to be using the water that's on board in the coach, you'll need to first turn the pump on. The pump is located right here above the lavatory. Once it's turned on, you can then select whether you're using propane or electric to power the hot water heater. Do that first. Then come in here and you can simply turn this on right here. Electric water heater on. If we're boondocking or we're out in the sticks and we're not going to be anywhere where we have actual electricity from a generator or whatever, then we can use gas, and then that's going to heat by propane for you. Tank heaters are only in the fall, so if you're going to fall camp, ask me about that. I'll give you the details. Otherwise, you don't need to turn that on. You can leave that alone. And as far as tanks are concerned, these things drive me crazy. The gray tank, I've emptied this and left a bucket there to where it's at a trickle, and then sometimes it doesn't show empty, okay? So just make sure you do this. I check the campers when they come back to make sure the tanks are empty if you're going to do it. And when they're empty, if I put a 5-gallon bucket under there and I end up filling the better part of that bucket, I'm going to have to charge you to get that emptied out, because I'm going to have to fill it up, rinse it out properly, okay? So make sure it comes back really empty. The gauges on this may or may not read accurately, okay? But when you put the bucket never lies. It's going to tell you if it's really empty or not. So just know this. You can sneeze near the toilet and the black tank will show half full. Achoo! That's it. Half full. Just like that. A little bit of slobber and the thing's going to fill up. Don't worry. You know how you know if it's full? That's the view of truth right there. You'll know whether it's getting full or not if that water and stuff starts to fill up. Make sure that you use adequate water when you rinse toilet paper down, and make sure that you only use single-ply RV tissue. We always add 1 or 2 rolls right here, and we have tank tablets right here. You're going to want to add one of those tank tablets, especially during the summer months, to the black tank. Drop it down the toilet, put about a gallon of water, rinse it down. You can also put one right here in the sink and put some water, and it'll bust up and rinse right down. That'll help manage odors, okay? So we don't have any odors coming from those holding tanks. I think we've got everything dealt with there. One other thing, though, is all the electricity in the coach is on a GFI. So if for some reason you're not getting power, it might be the GFI tripped. To reset it, it's going to be right there. This is where we set the 110 amp service right there. Okay, so if there's not power and you're making coffee, come in here and make sure that's not tripped. As far as vents, when you're coming and going, you want to make sure this is actually closed. I have it open right now so that it can get some fresh air in here. You have a exhaust fan. When you're showering, make sure you always use the exhaust fan to get moisture out. Moisture is the biggest killer of campers. If we get water ingress from a broken seal or water from inside the coach, especially in the bathroom, it can damage and ruin a camper incredibly fast. Please make sure you use your vents, especially the one in the bathroom when you're showering, okay? Windows are pretty self-explanatory. They got a little latch that closes. This one's closer, and we can show you how that looks. Close it, make sure it's latched down, and you're good to go. You're going to do that process on the kitchen, the lower and upper bunks. We're going to make sure that that vent is closed. And then we've got two on the passenger side, one in the dinette and one at the bedroom. Okay, the one in the front is a sealed unit. There is extra storage. You can access the storage underneath these by pulling the cushions down like this. When you pull this up, make sure you're careful for that cleat over on the wall that holds the cords for the blind. And then you've got a lot of storage in here for some lightweight things for your trip. Now, you can also access that just right with that door. I find that when I'm getting things loaded up, it's easier just to drop it in from the top down. So, all right, I'm going to put this away. Never mind the shaky video. We're going to give you all the information you need. It may not be the most polished video, but you're going to be able to come back and watch this again if you have any questions or you forget something. I think we've talked about most everything. We do have a small trash can that's expandable. That's right underneath here, underneath the couch. And we have a fire extinguisher and usually a fly swatter and some things back here. Some basic cleaning supplies. I always encourage people to bring what they like cleaning with the most. But you'll see that in here, fire extinguisher, a few basic cleaning supplies. Sometimes we do have extra trash bags, sometimes we don't. Depends on the season if we've got some. Usually we try to have a few in there for you. Those are 13-gallon, will be great for you. All right, well, that's about it. The only other thing I can tell you is if you want to turn the lights on, you just press the little button in the middle and press it on to turn on, press it again to turn it off. You can always check. We like to do to make sure we've got the fire alarm working. There's also a propane or a gas alarm. We can test that by pushing the button right here. And that's going to go off about 4 or 5 times. Now it's going to have a series of beeps. Okay. After those 4 chirps like that, we know everything is as it should be. All right. That, I do believe, is about all there is, other than one last thing. Again, when we're going to close the slide out, remember to hold the button until it closes all the way. On the awning, if we put it in now, you'll see it does not get in any big hurry. It's the tortoise and the hare. It's the hare on the way out. It's the tortoise on the way in. It goes a little slow. So just remember that. Okay, so you're finished packing up. All the windows are closed. All the doors are secure. The bed is in the couch position. We've made sure all of these are closed. All the panels are closed and locked. You're going to want to make sure, just to kind of make sure everything is tight along on those service panels. Now we're going to put our stairs back in. Just going to lift those up. And we want to make sure that this blade gets back there to hold those in. It just holds them in there loosely. Close that. This will lock, and now your coach is, with the exception of the awning, right? It's ready to go. We want to make sure everything's good to go. Then we're going to back up, hook up, and then head out. If you're going to be using the stabilizer bars, that detail is going to be in a different video, and that'll walk through it. And you'll also be with us when we hook up to your actual vehicle. I can tell you for most Minnesota trips, especially if we have a half-ton or larger tow vehicle, we don't need those. But if we're going to be on the back of an SUV, then we usually will offer to put those on for you. So, well, that's it. Well, thank you for listening. I hope it was helpful. If you have any other questions, you can always call me. My phone number is 612-414-5955. That's it from Camper Jim. Remember, your next adventure and a lifetime of memories are just around the bend. We'll see you out there. Thanks for your time.